From the liberal Northeast comes a lone voice of truth. Honest commentary in dishonest times. Think deeper with Juan Newsom. This is the Cure Radio Program. This is the Cure.
Hey folks, this is Juan. Welcome to Cure Radio. Tonight I have a special guest, my friend Michelle Dawson. She is formerly a professional background singer. She's also a health and guru expert. She's worked in real estate and property management. She's also has her own podcast, her and her mother, called A Daughter's Love, where they capture the interaction and intimate experiences between mother and daughter. Welcome to the show today, Michelle. How are you doing? It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
We used to hang out back in the day.
Back in the day. Co-op City day. Remember?
But just, you used to come on my podcast in the early days. Yeah.
Yeah. That was amazing. Like the political, I think that was before Trump, right?
That was way before Trump. That was Obama-ish.
Yes, we did do radio. Oh, wow. It was so awesome. Great time doing radio with you.
It's bigger and better now, and it looks like this show could be getting picked up by a major a station now. So wow. We'll see what happens.
So good. I even said I know I have to study a little bit to come on your show. you get deep. Well, you used to be real deep.
Yeah, no, it still gets pretty deep, but yeah, okay. I used to grind through the details, on my old show. Like I would comb through the issues kind of. So
now you just whatever.
Yeah. Well, no, I still kind of comb through the issues. I think it's just a little more organized. Mm-hmm. Where I used to kind of focus, I used to focus like maybe I would do podcasts. I would focus on one specific issue for that day. So like I would do podcasts on economics. I got this one podcast called Economics 101.
Wow.
And you can see it on my SoundCloud and, also on iHeartRadio and on my iTunes where all of my content is distributed. And, it's there and it goes really kind of deep into how, the basics of the economy and how things work.
Mm-hmm. I know that's your specialty.
Yeah. So, but now it's, we talk about, we can talk about a little bit of that or issues. I know now we're on lockdown because of the coronavirus. Both you and I, unfortunately, are in New Jersey where things are just mismanaged to be damned. And we're just here stuck waiting until our dumb ass governor get it together.
So I don't know a lot about him. So is he following protocol or what's his
I would say he is, but here's the thing about Murphy. He's a smart guy. He has a good background. He worked at Goldman Sachs. He made a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So he knows how capitalism works, but he's a damn liberal. And so liberalism taints everything it touches. I don't care how smart you are. You can be a lawyer. You can be a doctor. Well, not a doctor, but you can be a lawyer. You can be a finance guy or whatever, or even a doctor sometimes because, Ezekiel Emanuel, Rahm Emanuel's brother, who's a doctor, promoted Obamacare. Now look at the healthcare system. So it's like...
Don't even get me started on that. As a business owner, Jesus.
Yeah, insurance costs have skyrocketed, man. Like we can't, for our little small business, we can barely hire anyone too. So it's like, next, we're looking at getting someone next year.
Just hire a doctor that does everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's it's so bad when I see what they take. Well, not what they take, but what they give as a business owner now, it's just crazy.
Well, what's that like? Tell them what's that upfront cost. Tell everybody that doesn't know that's in this audience that may not have a business.
So when you have a business, first of all, I have a health insurance that it covers the bare minimum.
Yep.
I have to go to a doctor. Like when I first moved to New York, I lived in New York.
Yep.
And I was in nutrition and I
Yep.
was doing Nestle. I had amazing clients that referred me to amazing doctors. So I've had the same doctors for so long.
Yeah.
Well, when I got this insurance, I could no longer go to those doctors. I had to
Wow.
go to a doctor that was in my area, like within a radius. And so now I go to doctors that I don't even know. They don't know my history. They probably can care less about.
Yeah.
It's just it's worse than being on Medicaid.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
But I'm
Yep.
paying a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, with this quarantine thing, and they're saying, see if this bill they'll no, they take it out every month. And
Yeah.
same employees, same, and most employees they want, more services. I even have now that I'm married, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll have a child. My insurance now doesn't cover, pregnancy. I
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
go,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just crazy. So as a business owner, I see now that the Obamacare was for the poor,
Yeah.
not
Yeah. Yeah.
class at
It was
all.
for the well. It was for when you look at how now because I read the bill
Mm-hmm.
and I read some of the coverages after. It was for the poor, but it was also for single women. And so that was if you're a single woman, you made out with Obamacare. If you were a single woman under a certain income, you made out. If you're a single woman that was low income, you really made out because you got the subsidy, right? And so the whole point was to get that single woman addicted to those dollars so that vote can come in next vote because you're not going to take away my Obamacare subsidy,
Nuh-uh.
right? So that was really the whole point behind Obamacare. No, a lot of people didn't catch that. I catch. Look, Democrats buy votes, man.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't vote Democrat no more. I mean, everybody buy votes. Republicans buy votes too. Let's be honest. But I definitely don't vote because they want to. The Democrats more so than the other party wants to extend government beyond things that they can do. Now, I worked in healthcare for 6 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I worked on the delivery side of healthcare in the supply chain, supporting it.
Mm-hmm.
The government is when I tell you, Michelle, the government is incapable of understanding healthcare, let alone managing it.
Of course.
There is no way that they can manage healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
So, so when I look at people saying, we should have a single payer system or we should have this, you know, those European countries, they're moving to the private. They're moving private.
Exactly.
They see that their healthcare models have failed them and they're moving private. Even Canada has some private coverage now.
Yeah.
So, what should we have both? You go to a place like Singapore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Singapore has both. They have a universal healthcare model, right? But then they also have private healthcare that they don't even touch. They don't even regulate that.
Mm.
If you need government healthcare, you can't afford private care, then you can get government healthcare.
Okay.
But you have the option of having just private healthcare and they don't mess with it. So
Okay.
to me, that's the best world. To me,
Yeah.
that's heaven. And that to me, that's the best. To me, that's the best model. The Singapore model. And I only found that out by reading through the Kaiser Foundation. I was like, there's got to be a model that
Mm.
kind of fits. If but here they want to run it all. Government wants
That
to run all the damn
doesn't work for
healthcare.
me.
Yeah.
That doesn't work for me to know that there's certain doctors that
Yep.
I would like to see. There were certain doctors that I've seen because I was referred to them and they had no openings, but because I knew someone, and now Nope.
Mm-hmm.
I go to my local grocery store, my local chain, as
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think that's how healthcare should be ran. And I was never with the Obamacare at all.
Yeah. I never supported it because I knew just working in healthcare, I knew what would happen. You add a layer of bureaucracy in it. Because to be honest, before Obamacare, yeah, you had some federal regulations over healthcare, but very little.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so you add a layer of that on top of, each healthcare provider was already regulated by that state, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's enough regulations right there, going from state to state. And so you add the federal government to that, it's only going to increase the cost. I knew it. I saw it. I worked in the industry, man. I was like, man, this is ridiculous. I was like, people gonna get hurt behind this bill. And my bill, my healthcare at the time, my healthcare coverage was about 12 grand. After Obamacare passed, it was like 25 grand for my policy,
Of
and it
course.
was
That's
because it
working.
was a it was
Is that
because it was a
working?
Cadillac policy.
Mm,
Yep,
yeah. It's crazy.
yep.
I'm definitely like in the hole when it comes to,
Wow.
yeah. But it is what it is. But this quarantine,
Yeah, it's crazy.
very much so.
So hopefully we'll get out. Red states are going to be fine because you know what? They got governors that make sense.
But
But
what
blue,
it is that we're paying for, like, they don't want to give New York no money.
I
And I
wouldn't either.
really, because you think they have so much.
It's not just that. It's just like New York got all this aid, right? They sent the ships. They sent all these ventilators, right?
Hmm.
Cuomo, dumbass, sends all these people that are infected to old folks' homes and end up killing all these people, right? In these retirement homes. They built they built the hospital in Central Park. They built a hospital in the Javits Center. They had their ships. They sent hardly anybody there. So the curve should have been flat and then some.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, at this point, you need to quarantine the elderly and the people that have underlying health conditions, and you got to open your economy back up because that's where you're going to get your money. That's where what? Trump knows what he's doing. I wouldn't send no money.
But also, I was listening to the governor of Arkansas and how
Mm-hmm.
he didn't quarantine at
He
all,
didn't. No.
and he doesn't have that many cases.
South Dakota didn't either.
Wow. And he says, you as American people, you need to teach your people how to deal with the virus and not run away from it.
We need. The thing is, you gotta like. There's got to be some sort of like herd immunity to it too. Like
Mhm.
we have to build antibodies to this to the virus.
Yeah.
It's like we can't be scared of germs. Like I know people are dying or whatever. I could be one of them. I've known 4 people that have died from this. But it's like this thing will never go away now.
We have to learn how to deal with it.
Exactly. We're going to live with it either way, and we can't wait for a
Yeah.
vaccine in order to go back outside again. That's
We
just
can't be inside and then you have people running out like they're crazy doing whatever, and then the numbers go back up.
exactly.
You have to learn how to cope with it. And when he was saying that, I was like, that makes so much sense. He says, why would I tell people to go into their homes? I need to show people how they need to, you know, govern themselves when it's something like this is out.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
he made
It,
so much sense.
it makes a lot of sense.
Well,
It
that's why
may,
we should be back home. We shouldn't even be in Jersey. We should move our families. You should go
what?
back to Virginia.
What? You know what? I don't think I would ever move back to Virginia,
No,
but as soon as this thing kicks off, I'm moving somewhere, baby.
I don't even like. I'm being bi-coastal, so coastal. I may live in the ocean. That's what boats. You know, you come to my boat, you got to be wearing a mask.
Oh God, you're funny.
Yeah, yeah.
You're funny. That is funny.
I definitely see myself making is it COVID decisions. That's what I call it. Like everything,
COVID decisions.
everything, everything is that, which is
That
crazy.
is that is funny.
Hmm.
That is hilarious. COVID decisions.
COVID decisions. It's a whole nother lifestyle, but
That's real.
I know.
So you got married.
Wait, first I got engaged in quarantine.
What? You know, a lot of people getting divorced in quarantine.
No, lawyers are. We were looking for a lawyer or an attorney, and it's backed up due to people being locked up with their wives. Oh my God,
That's crazy.
it's crazy. So yeah, so initially, so I haven't been dating in a while.
Hmm.
My story. I got stories.
Yeah, I know. I know you've been on the market for a minute.
Mark it, and I've been taking credit cards and taking, I've been, but I never really did the whole settle thing until I knew.
Yeah.
So I think for me, my breaking point was Christmas when I was at a resort by myself.
Hmm.
Christmas, and I usually invite people and I want to have, but it's Christmas, everybody's with their family.
Hmm.
So I end up being alone, and I was like, nah, this isn't cool. So I remember praying, and I know God knows the type of guys I like. I remember praying, and I asked God to guard my heart
Hmm.
because I know I was guarded, as most women
Hmm.
in my age, is. And so New Year's Eve, I end up meeting my close friend's brother.
Oh wow.
So you already, like your guard is dropped because you're like, you're my brother,
You
I'm
got a
your
reference.
yes. I'm like
He got references.
exactly. I'm like, I know you. But my whole thing, honestly, I was like, oh, you're like my brother. And he immediately was like, but you're not like my sister. Like, oh, you know.
He
And
had plans.
he had plans. But that's a guy thing. And I'm like, oh, here we go again. Like, can't you just be my brother? And he's like, nah. He was on it.
On it.
Yeah. And so everything pretty much worked out. Like, we had so much in common. Like almost
Wow.
like really, you know. And so I think between me and him, even now, it's a God thing. And
Hmm.
when you find someone, when it's a God thing, you don't worry about timing, this, that. Like it's it's such a God thing. Like sometimes we have to step back and say, okay, why are we doing this again?
Hmm.
So it's a major thing. I mean, even after meeting him and so many things happen in between. Um,
So you said that Sierra prayer and got you a Russell Wilson.
I did without a baby, without a baby's daddy.
Without Future.
I don't do that. That's one of the things I told him. So let me tell you this. So I'll tell you briefly because they say don't tell your whole story.
Yeah.
Met him that New Year's night. He had a cough and he didn't feel good, and he went to the hospital. And they said he had an infection. They gave him antibiotics. He was okay. We really wanted to meet up, and we met up, and then we met up again, and then we met up again, again, again. He was still coughing. He was still sick. And I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah, something's not right. So the weekend of his birthday, he came to New Jersey,
Hmm.
but he was not feeling well. He was going to have a party back in Connecticut. I went. He still dismissed himself in a house full of people because he wasn't feeling well. And I said, you need to go to the doctor. This is before COVID. So let me just tell you why it's
Mm-hmm.
special. So he's like, you know what? In the morning, I'm going to the doctor. I need to figure out. So he goes to the doctor thinking that when he comes out, he's just going to get antibiotics and go to work or whatever. They told him, you can't go anywhere. You are quarantined. We didn't even know this word before quarantine. You basically, you have an ailment that is basically will destroy, the United States. Like, you have to stay in the hospital.
Wow. So he had COVID?
He never had COVID. He had what is called uncompromising tuberculosis.
Oh, yeah, I heard of that.
Yeah. And it's prevalent among South Africans, which he's from South Africa.
Yep.
But he was immediately admitted in an isolated room. Like, he called me immediately, go get tested. And of course, because of so we were quarantined even before this quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
were preparing. I had to come with a mask to see him
Mm-hmm.
before, like, when he got out he was in the hospital for like over a month.
Wow.
And I think that's where he was like, so what's your ring size? Because I told him, this is not girlfriend issues. This is not. I mean, I had my mom praying. I had people praying. I'm like, it was a major, major thing
Mm-hmm.
before Corona came.
Wow.
So here we are. We're practicing. Like, even when he was being released, he was like, well, you have to quarantine. I couldn't be in the same room as him. I had to wear a mask. And I'm telling him, the whole world is like this now. And he's looking at me like, really? Like, when he went in there, it was none of that.
Wow.
So
That's crazy.
it's crazy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, when I come out, I'm gonna go to the mall. I'm like, what mall? Where where are you going? So
Ain't nothing open.
ain't nothing. You can go and have a seat, and we all got your same uniform on. But it's a great story. I mean, that is why, coming out of that, you appreciate, and you're just like, wow. For me, I knew I never want to be a girlfriend. I'm too old for that. So I'm like, where are we going? We need to quarantine this wedding and put it together. And
Mm-hmm.
you get a tie, get a dress, and let's do it. And that's
Yep.
what we did. And
That's amazing.
here we are.
That was kind of like, it was similar to us. Yeah, you're right. That's kind of like my story.
Yeah, see, we got to hang out. You will
We
love
gotta
it.
hang out. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, could you imagine
Yeah.
a married woman now?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's super cool.
it's very good, which is, we're both happy, which
Yep.
is good, like, as long as you stay happy and focus on you too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, and also too, seeing the God within your relationship,
Yep.
and being two independent people, which is a
Yep.
good thing.
Yeah, you do. You gotta keep your identity.
Yes.
Like if you lose that, then the marriage is gonna fail. You gotta have your own happiness, your own identity, your own things that you like to do,
Hmm.
your own just, you know, the things that you brought into it, you just shouldn't give it all up. It's just you definitely have to keep those pieces together.
Yeah, which is great because
Yeah.
we have our own identity, which is good, but we're a lot alike, and
Yep.
that's also good. But one of the things that I read a book, is called Saving Your Marriage Before It Starts. I was reading it
Mm-hmm.
before, and no one can make you happy. You have to be happy.
You already have to be
You
happy. Yep.
be happy, and for me, I'm so happy that I positioned myself that I was already happy. I was just
Yep.
all right. Nobody was available on Christmas, due to family. And it was one of those things I was like, all right, I need to find someone else. and it's good that he's already happy. And
Mm-hmm.
so it works because, I'm away a lot.
Yeah, yeah, you'd be rolling. You'd be rolling because you work. Yeah.
Yeah, I work. And so he's so comfortable with it. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much. And I always tell him, I was like, all you got to do is just cover me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
good. Like, I've always
Mm-hmm.
good. And the good thing about it is that I'm good, but I'm a submissive person.
Yeah.
Like, I don't let what I do dictate me. And I said, listen, when I come in the house, I've been telling people all day what to do. Like, can you just like settle me down a little bit? And
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I'm still from the Midwest. I'm not a New Yorker. I need a
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, shit,
So
New York girls won't let you tell them what to
that's
do.
what I'm saying. And I'm like, God, just tell me, And so
The thing is, like marriage, you gotta like both of you have to submit to each other, and then you have to cater to one another.
mhm.
That's just for me being married 15 years.
Yeah.
So but it takes when you get married young, you don't know that. It's like you're bumping heads
Yeah.
because you're like very egocentric. When we got married, I was 29, right?
Wow.
You know what I mean? My
Yeah, I've
wife
been,
was, huh?
I've been with you longer than your wife.
Yeah, you know me longer than my wife. Yeah, you knew me. I met you when I was like 24, 23 years old.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
was just finishing college when I met you.
Wow. That's great. Okay. Is
That's
that
great.
great? In New
That
York,
is,
you used
yep, in New
to
York.
say ultra. Remember, I used to have an accent. You had an
Yep.
accent too.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I
Now,
still do.
I don't think we have it as much now. We've
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we kind of integrated into New York
We
a little bit
we
more.
we are totally different people.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is cool because I get to see like your progression, your family, your home, your like all this, and I'm like, is that one?
Oh, you should see my house now. This shit is crazy.
Yeah, all that, right?
We still live in the same town. I just, we just moved up the street
Oh, and I know.
in West Orange. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Even if you're in Jersey, I even tell him I'm like he needs to come and learn the Jersey family. Like we have Jersey people,
Well, we'll invite you guys over when this damn quarantine is lifted.
or we'll come with masks and you can kind of spray us down.
Yeah, yeah. We'll invite you guys over soon. So what advice would you give the women out there who are looking? There's a lot of ladies looking.
I would I would say stop looking. When you're looking, you're not gonna really you're gonna find everything. My whole thing
Mm-hmm.
was like I really sincerely and I'm not a big prayer. I'll be very honest with you. Like when it comes to praying, that's some like more so read the Bible than pray.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when I go to God, I pray for something, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
Mm-hmm.
fair. I need to go with him with gratitude and thanking him. But I was really sincere, like, God, yo, this is not working.
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked him to guard my heart, like do everything within me. And so when the guy comes, you kind of just like, you get it. You're like, whoa, all right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
Mm-hmm.
you look for anyone because there's a lot out there.
Yeah, you usually find your insecurities when you're looking,
Yeah.
or you
Fine.
find the negative.
You find like, and for me, I always thought I'm like, I had a good dating resume. Like
Oh yeah,
I've dated some heavy hitters, right?
I've seen some of that resume.
So,
Yeah,
so yeah, I know what
you're like,
I
I know my worth.
I know. However, just never worked out. You can tell that it will never work out. Knew God knows what I wanted. And so I put my wants in his hands and I told him to protect me. And
Mm-hmm.
it just works. I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to any woman, put it in God's hands. Like don't even, yeah, don't even look.
Yeah.
It's that. And I think any man will tell a woman that, like, stop looking. What are you looking for?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. So
If you put it in God's hand, He's gonna give you your desires, things that you don't even know that you like.
e-
Really.
exactly. And I
Yeah.
see that. I used
Yeah.
when you're talking married talk, and I used to be like, oh, that's bull. That's bull. Like how you talk married.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't want to talk because I know I'm talking like it's bull, but I'm like, no, when you know, you know.
When you lived it, oh my God. It's just like when I tell younger dudes now, I'm like, look, man, when I'm giving advice, it's I lived it. Like when I see a young guy messing up, I'm like, look, man, you just got to be a little bit more patient. She's thinking this. She's always gonna think. Like
Yeah,
that's not gonna go away. You just have to be stable. Like I give younger guys advice because you have these 20-something-year-olds still getting married or whatever. Even though the marriage rate is going down, I run into younger guys that get married. I'm like, look, man, I go to a there's a men's group that I go to. We talk about this stuff, and then we see younger guys, and I'm like, I'm trying to steer them in the right direction because I feel like if I can impart to that person some of my mistakes
yeah.
and some of the things that I've lived through, and they could just kind of just glide right through that. It's just you save the marriage, you save, it's just marriage is so precious. It's a gift from God, really.
And everyone
uh
get it. That's what I'm learning. That,
hmm
everyone does not get the honor for God to choose you to be a part of life.
yeah, yeah.
So that I'm like, it's so sacred to where, I when I say I submit myself, I
hmm
myself to be
hmm
compatible with this person. You know,
hmm
constantly working on myself. Like if you
yeah.
about you won't have any issues. But it's relationships, and I think people that practice marriage before,
hmm
like they live together, they do all that. All of that is just a crash that's getting ready to happen, to where it's an explosion.
hmm
If you don't do it God's way,
hmm
it will eventually break, because it's your ego, his ego coming together, and you're not creating what he intended. And what he intends is that you to be consistently working on you, so
that's
that
true.
you're doing can line up where he is.
Yeah, that's true. It's definitely like a reflection, right? Marriage is like a mirror,
Of
and
course.
like all of the good things that are in you are going to come out, but the thing is, all of the bad things that are in you are going to come out. And
Exactly.
like you got to work on those negatives because you've had experiences with other relationships. You've had experiences in the household you grew up in. All of that stuff you're kind of bringing into that relationship. And if certain things aren't addressed, look, certain things aren't going to be addressed until you get into marriage. I know relationship counselors and marriage counselors, and I get it. They try to prevent people from going into the marriage with the least amount of baggage, but certain things aren't going to get addressed until you get into the marriage, because when you're single, you can isolate yourself,
Hmm.
and you can kind of corner yourself off. When I was single, I had when I left the Bronx or whatever, I had my own place, and I was living with some relatives or whatever in the Bronx. But when I moved to Brooklyn, I had my own place, and then when I moved to Jersey City, I had my own place. So you could kind of like quarantine yourself from everyone else. You don't have to work on you. You
Right.
know, you just be like, the hell with them. I'm gonna go back to my place. I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
chill. I'm gonna have a glass of wine or whatever. I'm not gonna grow. No, I'm not gonna grow tonight. It's not you.
It's not good night. So,
Exactly.
no, I get it. Trust me. And that's to imagine getting older and having that mentality. Like
No
you
way. You
die.
won't survive.
That's what I thought. I was like, Lord, my grandmother didn't curse me, Black Widow, like, typical. Like you get to a point to where you don't see anyone.
But you were never like that though, Michelle. Even when I met you, like even back in the day,
Always a wife. I'm like Atlanta housewife, the traditional one.
you were always growing. Every time I saw you, you grew in some area. So that's just the interesting thing about you, me and you.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, you're a grower. You grow regardless. Through relationships, through your career,
Yeah,
through your mother has been there. She's been like your steady hand, like your stability. Like you've always grown.
I
You
know.
challenge yourself.
I'm
So what's next for you?
a lot married. So now that I'm married, I will definitely have. I say, God, give me as many children as you will allow in
Mm-hmm.
pregnancy.
Yeah.
So I would have children. I know he wants children. I definitely want to do philanthropy in South Africa.
Yeah.
It's because I didn't even know I was going to meet a South African man. But my girlfriend has a foundation there, and she was actually my business coach, and she was talking to me about developing my business in South Africa before I even knew about him. And I'm like, she was talking to me about it in last summer. And I'm like, maybe. And it's just so crazy how things work out because he's from there. And so I'm like, okay, me and my husband have a passion for cooking. So I was like, we
Mm-hmm.
have to start writing our recipes down and maybe doing something. I would love to do like a Netflix series. I think we have
Mm-hmm.
palettes from him being from where he's from and my travels, and then I've also went to culinary, so I'm culinary trained.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
to see, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Let's do this. So I think after this quarantine, I think it's vital that you get with your loved ones and you start to build a foundation within your family.
Make your plans right now though, because you got the time
I know. That's
and
what
the
we're
quarantine. What? We've been
doing.
plotting and planning up in here. We like, yo.
Don't come out. I used to tell my mom because, and the crazy thing is my mom's favorite movie is Black Panther.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I said to my mom, I said, listen, because my mom's a minister, pastor, whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
when I come out, I gotta be better than you. I gotta be Wakanda like supercharged. But because she brings it. So I'm like, once I'm supercharged, and so I think for me, it's building a brand within my family, within
Mm-hmm.
and my husband. We've been joined together, and I think I got this. I think I Beyonce this, if that is a term.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's very prevalent in a Midwest country kind of way. We always bring um, stability, we bring family, and we bring
Mm-hmm.
to our families. And I think that's what's next.
You
I've done me.
you gonna bring the podcast back? You guys are gonna
I'll bring the podcast back definitely. With me and my mom, we have to do that. I mean, everyone loves her point of view. They love her craziness and how she checks me and I'm gonna always be me, which is a great thing. And I tell my husband, I said, if he says, you crazy, right? And I say, you know what? But I'm consistent. Everybody knows and they know my mom's crazy. So I would definitely bring the podcast back, especially.
where can they find your content? Can my audience find your content
Oh,
anywhere?
you can go to um, Well, let me email you because you go to iHeartRadio and
Okay.
Google,
Yeah, we're on iHeart too.
yeah, Google A Daughter's Love. And once I start back again, let's do it. Like it's so much fun because it's just honest talk between a mother, a daughter, and sometimes I like to get the community. What do we call these little babies that they call themselves?
The millennial.
Yes. Oh my God. Sometimes, I you know, speak, but it's funny. But I have to always remind myself, I used to be a millennial. Like I used to have an opinion like that. So it's funny because
Yeah,
I think
true.
I think it's great, the podcast, because me being a woman of a certain age, I realize how many women don't have relationships with their mother because of a difference of opinion. And if you would sit down
Yeah.
and you would really grasp why they believe the way they believe, you'll say, "Oh, now I know why you're crazy." Okay, you know. And it's just an understanding. And for me and my mother, we have an understanding. Even if my grandmother, who is not here, we have an understanding to where we know people have beliefs because of what they've been through, not because of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, I'll give
Yeah.
you ads. But right now,
Okay. Well, we gotta have you back on.
you do. I'm so excited. Quarantine and all.
Well, thanks for coming on. Folks, you can Google Michelle on iHeartRadio, and we're gonna post the links when we put this podcast up. Thanks for coming on again, Michelle. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. We'll talk soon.
This is The Cure.